I'll only try to direct your attention to the things that Donald Trump does that really matter. And what Donald Trump and Elon Musk are doing at the Treasury is something no one should ignore. No one knows what they are doing at the Treasury. That is what really matters about it. And so in the second coming of Donald Trump, the myths fell away. Myths like we are a nation of laws. That is one of America's most flattering and false self-delusions. We are, and we have always, what we are and what we've always been, is a nation of laws for some people and not for others. The original law of the land, the Constitution, was written exclusively by propertied white men for propertied white men alone to enjoy all the legal rights granted under the Constitution. By 1975, we had more rights than ever before in our history to regard ourselves as a nation of laws in the best sense of that idea. The Voting Rights Act was 10 years old then. At that point, black people were finally taking their rightful place in the American electorate all over the country. And in 1975, it was the law that closed in on Republican President Richard Nixon for the crimes he committed in office and drove him to resign the presidency. A true triumph for a nation of laws. And if you lived through that period, you had every right to believe that we were a nation of laws. But Donald Trump and the Supreme Court justices he appointed and the Republican members of the House and Senate have proved to you in the last year in every way that they possibly could that we are not a nation of laws. All the worst things Donald Trump has done in the last few days are against the law, all of them. Law that turns out to be unenforceable against Donald Trump or against his friend, the private citizen Elon Musk, whose American citizenship is his third choice of citizenship. After first South African citizenship, then Canadian citizenship, and now finally his third choice, American citizenship. Not all violations of law are crimes. When Donald Trump violates the law by freezing some federal spending, as he did last week, no one can be charged with a crime. So lawyers run into federal court and they sue Donald Trump and the federal government for freezing that funding, and then they get an injunction in the case. They win that point with the judge. They got an injunction against Donald Trump for freezing the funding. And Donald Trump is still freezing that funding, because that injunction and the law behind it is effectively unenforceable against Donald Trump. Because no, we are not a nation of laws. Among the other Trump horrors that really matter is Donald Trump giving the richest person in the world the illegal authority to take aid away from the poorest people in the world.
Please sign the petition and urge Congress to make a...
10 years before Elon Musk was born into privilege on the white side of apartheid in South Africa, the President of the United States said this.
Our efforts to help other new or developing nations and to strengthen their standards for freedom have also made progress. A new unified agency for international development is reorienting our foreign assistance to emphasize long-term development loans instead of grants, more economic aid instead of military, individual plans to meet the individual needs of the nations, and new standards on what they must do to marshal their own resources.
This weekend, Elon Musk said, USAID is a criminal organization, time for it to die. The United States Congress created the United States Agency for International Development in a law signed by President Kennedy. And Elon Musk claims now to have the power to kill it. In a nation of laws, that cannot happen. How long has Elon Musk hated the United States Agency for International Development? Did he begin hating it when USAID was supporting the American government foreign policy of opposition to apartheid in South Africa, when Elon Musk was benefiting from apartheid in South Africa? Is that how Elon Musk learned to hate that branch of American government that helps the poorest people in the world? There is life-saving medicine rotting on loading docks in Africa right now because Elon Musk has decided there is not a single poor person in the world who should be receiving any help from the United States of America tonight for anything. What kind of sociopaths want mothers to watch their babies die in African countries tomorrow and the next day and the next day? What kind of sociopaths want people to starve? And you can't say, oh, they don't want babies to die. They don't want people to starve. That's not their intention. When you stop the movement of food supplies to starving people, you are starving those people. When you stop the delivery of life-saving medicine, you don't get to say that you don't want anyone to die. What they're doing is immoral and it is illegal. In a nation of laws, an American government agency created by Congress and President Kennedy by law can only be stopped by Congress passing another law signed by another president. That's how it works in a nation of laws. The new Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, stepped in to run interference for Elon Musk today by declaring himself the acting administrator for the United States Agency for International Development, before then announcing that he was putting a State Department political appointee who is not confirmed by the Senate in charge of the Agency for International Development. And so now someone named Pete Marocco, yeah, that's his real name, will decide how many babies die. He will decide how many people starve. NBC News reports in early 2023, online sleuths who aided the FBI in cases against hundreds of January 6 rioters identified Marocco and his now wife as being among the rioters who stormed the Capitol in 2021, pointing to multiple images of them on the Capitol grounds that day and CCTV video that shows the man they identified as Marocco entering the Capitol through a broken window. That's who's in charge of President Kennedy's creation right now tonight. Pete Marocco. From John F. Kennedy to Pete Marocco, all in Donald Trump's lifetime. In a nation of laws, Pete Marocco would be powerless tonight. And President Kennedy's law would still be delivering life-saving aid around the world.